Confidence comes from clarity. We got to be clear on what we want and why we want it. Once we know what we want and why we want it, now we can become more confident in trying to figure out a way to get there. It's like a bullseye, right? You wouldn't have a bow and arrow and be blindfolded and try to hit a bullseye. The more clear we are, the more confident we can be, we can hit that. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to dig right into it. We're going to talk about the real reason why you don't have confidence when it comes to selling or running your business or just in life. Confidence is something that's earned. And I'm going to share with you a secret that I learned over my last 10 years of personal growth journey that has changed everything for me when it comes to confidence. The man that speaks to you each week now is a very different man than what was back before I started my journey, back in my late 30s, to self-discovery and to growth. And during that process, I learned this one key truth that it's unshakable when it comes to confidence. And the reason why we don't have confidence, people don't have confidence in life, is because they don't trust themselves. I'm going to dig into that today. They don't trust themselves. I didn't trust myself. I would set a yearly budget for my business, and I would be all excited in January, see how I could make it all work. And by the time we got to April, I started looking at the numbers because I didn't understand that I had to keep my eye on those things. And I would look at the numbers and I'd be like, you know what? We're doing good. We're doing really good. So far, we're ahead of schedule right now. And if I take the budget for the year and I break it out, I'd be like in really good shape right now. So April's good. Thumbs up. All right. Then I would look at the numbers again, go back to work, come back up in a couple of months, take a look again. I'm like, oh, darn, it's June, July. We're not even close to halfway where I needed to be. Spring is always busy. That's why it looked really good. And then all of a sudden it didn't. So what did I do? Instead of going into planning mode, I'd stick my head in the sand. I'd stick my head in the sand and say, you know what? No big deal. We'll make it up later. Not a big deal. And then I would take a look a couple months later, kind of, one of those half-eyed into the books, like, how are we doing? Kind of stepping in slowly to the room. And some years would be good and other years would not be. And you know what? I got to a point where I got so tired of trying to balance a budget inside a business, I just stopped doing it. I just said, you know what? I never know. I had a great story for it. I said, I never know what's going to happen, what projects are going to sell. So why even try, right? So my confidence in being able to set a goal for a certain revenue goal for the year was, it was an idea. It was a story that could happen in January, but by the end of the year, not so much. So I didn't trust myself to be able to bring that to life. And over years and years of trying that, I just gave up. I couldn't trust myself. I didn't have the skills yet to be able to understand how to set and beat or meet a budget for the year. I didn't know how to do it. So I just decided not to do it. Same thing for projects. I'd be like, hey, it's going to take us 100 hours to build this backyard patio. It's going to take us this much material and this much equipment and all that kind of stuff. I had it all planned out. You know how it is in the world of estimating. Everything is perfect until the project starts. It all makes perfect sense in a vacuum until you actually start building this project and it rains and the clients change things and there's roots under it or there's things that you just didn't expect. And pretty soon that 100 hours is bust. And you're thinking like, man, why do I even try? Your confidence goes down and down and down. And what happens is we keep doing this over and over and setting ourselves up for failure. Same thing with working out. Right? We say, hey, you know what? Beginning of the year, I'm going to work out. I'm going to either gain muscle or lose weight. Here's what I want to do. I'm all excited about it. I tell everybody about it. And the next thing you know, a week or two goes by, your legs get tired, your body feels tired. Other things are more important, higher priority. Pretty soon you start to fall behind. And then you say, you know what? I need to allocate my time somewhere else. So you quit and you go back to doing what you always did. Now, listeners, if this sounds like you and you've gone through these same things, good. That means you're human. This is very normal. This is very common amongst anybody who's achieving things in life. The ones that sit on the recliner and look at the TV and say how they wish they could do or that they could do everything better than everybody that they see on TV, that's BS. It's not true. Now, there's one thing that I've learned through this process that I hope you guys keep near and dear to your hearts. So if you want to build confidence as a business owner, as a father or mother, as a volunteer, as a builder, as a designer, whatever it might be, whatever your target is, if you want to build confidence, first thing you need to do, absolutely first thing, is understand that confidence is built from the promises, not that we tell others that we will do, not the promises that we have them hold us accountable to, but the promises that we make to ourselves. That's where confidence comes from. It comes from getting into the understanding that all of those promises that you told yourself, sometimes in silence, sometimes when nobody's around, it's the last time I'm going to drink on the weekend. This is the last time I'm going to watch pornography. This is the last time I'm going to do whatever you're going to do. The last time I'm going to fall asleep when my kids are at a game, whatever it might be. You keep saying those promises to yourself, but then you break them and you break them and you break them and you don't trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, your confidence goes way down. So listeners, today, I wanted to share that. It was on my heart. The way you get around that. So I hate to take you to a place, have you understand something possibly for the first time, and then say, you know what? Now what, Josh? Thanks for all this, for this advice, but now what? Here's what I've learned along this journey and why today I am 1,000% more confident than I've ever been in my life. First of all, confidence comes from clarity. We got to be clear on what we want and why we want it. Once we know what we want and why we want it, now we can become more confident in trying to figure out a way to get there. It's like a bullseye, right? You wouldn't have a bow and arrow and be blindfolded and try to hit a bullseye. The more clear we are, the more confident we can be we can hit that. So when it comes back to the budget side of things, if you don't know what a budget's going to be, that's okay. There's plenty of ways that you can learn about how to set a budget, how to be looking at it daily, weekly, monthly, whatever your cadence is to make sure that you're on track, and then what to do with it beyond. But once you've made that promise to yourself and you're going to do it, don't disappear, show up. And if you don't know what to do, ask for help. That's a big thing, right? You've got to set expectations for what you want to do for the year, for the project, for whatever it might be, even in your personal growth journey, whether it's spiritual or whether it's working out and it's physical. Set some clear expectations and goals, and then have somebody in your life be an accountability partner. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a partner in business or even an employee. You guys will have connections, or a good friend, someone that'll keep you accountable to your word. Not just the word to them, but the words you've promised yourself. When we say things in our mind like, yeah, I'm going to stop smoking. I really need to stop smoking. But you don't put that, or you don't ask for help or any kind of accountability. What's going to happen as soon as something gets hard or whatever triggers you to smoke, that you're going to go right back and doing it again. That's what's going to happen. It's a guaranteed it's going to happen because you have a paved road to that action, to that trigger, and a dirt path to avoiding it. So what we need to do is figure out how to create obstacles in that paved road so that you take the dirt path and avoid those triggers. So having accountability is very important. Having grace and just not beating yourself up so much. We're all human. We're going to make mistakes. We're all going to fall short. But knowing that it's not the end, that's just another example. Let's look at what we're doing here. I want to build confidence. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to figure out how to run this business more effectively. I'm going to make more money, have more time for my family. All those things are amazing. Now we have to set up an accountability system in there, start creating a discipline around it. And that's when the things start coming true. It's keeping those promises. Because once you start, listeners, once you start seeing the fruits of that labor, seeing the fruits of the disciplines, and seeing the fruits of you keeping promises that you made to yourself, all I have to say is doors open and opportunities open and your heart opens and your confidence goes through the roof, all because you kept the promises that you made to yourself. So first off, we have to be very careful on which promises we're making to ourselves and knowing what and why. What is the promise and why is it important to us? Why is it a must that we move forward with this? Why? Get deep in there, because that's what you're going to need when things get tough and you want to go back to that paved road, to that old pattern, that old trigger that you had in the past. So setting it up for success is setting those expectations, knowing that you're human, you're going to err, but getting right back on the horse again, building an accountability system around you, capturing each day. Journaling is such a powerful, powerful way to do this, to capture what's going on, because your saboteurs, the negative voices in your head, they always want to knock you down and show you're not enough and you don't have what it takes. So if you back up that BS meter that goes off in your head and they start talking. You say, no, 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 no. Look, saboteurs. Look at my journal. 3 days ago, I was having an amazing day. Here's exactly what I wrote. I'm going to go back to that because I wrote it down and captured it in the moment. Capturing is very important. And then creating systems to make sure that you continue to keep your word. Again, keeping the promises, the word you made to yourself is the most important thing here. Once you do that, listeners, I'm standing here in complete understanding of this because I've gone through from the person who had very little confidence to the person now that stands in front of you with lots and lots of confidence. And this is one of the key differentiators that I learned during this last 10 years of personal growth. It's keeping the promises that we make to ourselves. That builds confidence. Building disciplines and rituals around those things in the 8 core categories of life will bring you from where you are to where you want to go in a way that you've never expected that God would be able to help guide you to. So listeners, I hope you got a lot from this today. It's something that I learned along the way, and it's something that I exercise every single day. When I say something, am I going to follow through with it? And if my answer is no, then why am I saying it? I only say the things that I plan on absolutely following through on and crushing in a time frame that I set up. And we have to give ourselves some grace because we don't always run the clock, do we? So listeners, hope this is valuable today. If you're really struggling with confidence, think about 2 or 3 things in your life that you can start setting better expectations for, build an accountability system around, and keep a promise to yourself. And you know what? I'm going to back that up. Pick one thing in your life that that would change everything if you would just get past that one thing. Maybe it is the smoking or the drinking. Maybe it is pornography. Maybe it is lack of understanding when it comes to running a business or how to run crews or whatever it might be. Pick one thing in your life and say, I'm going to focus on keeping my promise to myself that I've made about that. And that, my friends, is how you start an epic movement within yourself that changes you in a way that you can serve the world in a much better way. Guys, till next time, go out there and be dangerous.